Space. The final disgrace. These are the voyages of the USS Roddenberry's Ego, his 500-year mission to explore every avenue of blatant liberal pandering, to seek out egregiously inappropriate new merchandising and franchise opportunities, to boldly piss off every legitimate science fiction impresario in the known universe. Here's your damn rant show, folks. Greetings, I am E. Adam Thomas, and welcome to That Damn Rant Show, the show that dares ask the question, if PewDiePie and Tobuscus ever had a demonic butt baby together, would it still be as big a failure as Corey Feldman? Well, friends, I'll go ahead and answer that question for you right now. Nobody could ever be as big a failure as Corey Feldman. But I bet their butt baby would be more annoying than Daniel Tosh. Idiotic fucknugget. Anyway, tonight is the first in a short series of episodes dedicated to the fact that all of your favorite, massively popular bullshit TV and movie franchises are completely suck huge piles of ass. The target of tonight's radioactive bile-strewn diarrhea flamethrower is that self-important shitstorm of a douche canoe morality play, Star Trek. Which Star Trek, you may ask? Am I going to piss all over the classic series for being cheaply made and poorly acted? The movies for being a laughable parade of aimless, aging actors trying desperately to stay employed? The Next Generation shows for gradually collapsing into a spaceborne plague of self-referential melodramatic mutual masturbation? Or am I going to cockblast the J.J. Abrams reboot for completely going full bionic bukkake all over the memory of everything Gene Roddenberry's legacy had hoped to create? The answer, my friends, is yes! All of it! From the very first grainy film frame of the first pilot starring Jeffrey Hunter as a nerve-damaged sloth labia, all the way to the last frame of this summer's upcoming cuntfest, Star Trek Beyond. But let's start with the cage. In concept, an awesome story premise, but I honestly think that if Shatner had been the captain of this first pilot instead of Jeffrey Hunter, they probably would not have had to go and do a second pilot. Hunter was just such a dry, stone-faced asshat in that episode. I think NBC might have just used that too cerebral bullshit as an excuse to get Gene to recast the captain part. Ultimately, we did get the cast we deserved. But honestly, out of 79 episodes, how many does anybody actually remember fondly? Trouble with Tribbles? Okay, absolutely, sure. Doomsday Machine? Definitely. Amok Time? Absolutely. City on the Edge of Forever is amazing stuff, even if they did take a steaming dump all over Harlan Ellison's original script. So, what about the other 75 episodes? They average out to about meh, with more than 30 of them verging on becoming obscenely unwatchable and insulting. So, what about Next Gen, DS9, and Voyager? First, let's be totally honest here. The first season of Next Gen was a steaming pile. Season 2 was almost as bad and even featured a clip episode like Family Ties. It took 3 years for this show to finally stop sucking, and even then there's more than a healthy handful of episodes that barely avoided crossing the line into nauseating. DS9? Well, that became a fucking soap opera for its first 2 or 3 years and didn't start becoming interesting until the Dominion came up and started fucking the Federation up the ass like a bad prison joke, and they kept ripping off Babylon 5 left, right, and center. Voyager? In all honesty, it's only as well remembered as it is because we finally had a weekly Star Trek series that was willing to beat the living fuck out of the ship once in a while. And of course, there was 7 and 9's tits. Can't lose there. And then Star Trek Enterprise? I'm sorry, Scott Bakula fans, but that show was a fucking mess. The mood and the style of the show were all over the place. It was sloppy, disorganized, and the only episode I actually liked was the two-parter from the evil alternate universe. Okay, so maybe the shows weren't all they're cracked up to be. But what about the movies? Oh, okay, fuck pants, what about the movies? They did 10 films and only 4 are actually any good at all. Wrath of Khan, Voyage Home, and Undiscovered from the classic cast, and the only next-gen movie that really stands out is First Contact. The rest of them, in order, are boring, mediocre, flat-out fucking horrible, mediocre again, really boring, and then Nemesis, God love it, was just downright insulting. At least when Spock died, they waited until after his funeral to resurrect him. In Nemesis, Data spends half the movie resurrecting himself before he even has the decency to fucking snuff it. Which brings us to the USS Abrams Prize, a sensory assault on the mind and optic nerves with everything a Trekkie could hope for, if a Trekkie was hoping to be turned to the dark side. We have the timeline getting all fucked up. Khan is turned from a powerful masculine Mediterranean man with fine Corinthian leather to a wimpy Brit who would probably even get his ass kicked in the Trotton's TARDIS. More lens flares than Uncle Saul's grainy old 8mm home movies of Las Vegas from 1972, a gratuitous and honestly insulting romance between Uhura and Spock, like the only reason they could think of to keep Martin Luther King Jr.'s favorite character in the franchise in the movie was to sneak behind the Vulcan green door and go for some mint-colored mint chocolate porn shipping. And a Starship Enterprise whose bridge looks like a fucking Apple store in Scottsdale. And as for the new movie that hasn't even come out yet, I think it really actually says something when Simon Pegg, who was the main writer on the film, and whose triumphs include Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, nearly quit the film multiple times because Paramount didn't like his script. Why, you may ask? Because it was too Star Trek-y. That's right, folks. They wanted to make a Star Trek film that wasn't too Star Trek-y. It would be like Toho doing a Godzilla movie, but decided they didn't actually want any large creatures in it. Just a gripping story about Japanese people doing a lot of running. Actually, that sounds a lot like Cloverfield. Anyway, how about an old-fashioned Western, but we'll set it in Brooklyn in the mid-70s? A biblical epic about a stockbroker from Seattle who falls for an underage Thai transsexual named Seamus? What the unholy fuck is wrong with a Star Trek movie having a little motherfucking Star Trek in it? Look, I have been a Star Trek fan for almost all my life, since I was 3 years old. To give that some perspective, that was back when the show was still a weekly series on NBC and there was no bloody A, B, C, or D. I even love most of the shitty episodes. So to see Paramount try to erase everything but the name from the franchise is at the very least rather insulting. You're pissing in your own Cheerios, Paramount. Excuse me. And you're about to completely alienate about 90% of the very fans who have helped keep this very lucrative cash cow alive for you morons. So, what's the big answer? Fuck is that shit? Easy. End the film series. End the alternate timeline. And let's hope the new CBS series can restore some of the faith that we have lost. Excuse me. The thing that irks me the most is that I really do like the cast of the new Star Trek films. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, they've all done amazing jobs interpreting these characters in their own way without losing any of the charm of their predecessors. It's the bullshit switchovers in the scripts that are fucking maddening. Let Star Trek be a little Star Trekky. That's what the fuck we're coming to see, dumb fuck. Excuse me. Next week, we will be ripping the jelly babies out of Doctor Who. And I expect to hear some pissed off whining from you Whovians about that one. I'm going to lay some shit out there for you that has needed to have been said for over 50 fucking years. In the meantime, let me know what you think by commenting here, looking us up on Facebook, or emailing me at boratom@gmail.com. Live long, and may the Force be ever in your favor, Gandalf. Oh, and if you haven't seen Deadpool yet, do yourself a huge motherfucking favor and go and see it. You'll wonder why the fuck all Marvel films up to this point haven't already been R-rated. Now, let's go get some gach chimichangas. Angry Men Reviews. Many fucks said, no fucks given.
Dirty fuck!
You may have noticed that I cough a lot during my rants. That is because I'm trying to quit smoking and I've switched over to e-cigs, which aren't that much healthier than actual cigarettes, but they're still healthier, and eventually I'm going to wean myself up with those. So if you're annoyed by my coughing, go fuck yourself. In fact, fuck you up the ass with a termite-covered dildo till your bunghole drips shit down your mother's face at your sister's bar mitzvah on a Tuesday. Biatch. Yo. Yeah, I don't know. I may use it. I don't know. By what? An angry Vulcan?
Yes.
A gangland Vulcan? Yo. Where's my sonic screwdriver now?
Yeah, you're gonna get shot by Trekkies, Whovians, and
Star Wars geeks.
yeah.
By the way, you Star Wars geeks, you're the biggest pieces of shit in the world. Okay, no, we're done. We're done. What are you doing? Weirdo. Bitch.